2. Proteins. Proteins are one of the 4 major types of macromolecules found in living organisms, along with carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids. They are made up of long chains of amino acids linked together through peptide bonds, and they play a wide range of essential roles in the body. Functions of proteins. 1. Enzymes. Proteins act as biological catalysts, called enzymes, that speed up chemical reactions in the body by lowering the activation energy needed for a reaction to occur. 2. Structural support. Proteins play an important role in providing support and structure to cells and tissues. For example, collagen is a protein that provides the structural framework for skin, bones, and cartilage. 3. Transport. Some proteins serve as carrier molecules that transport essential molecules, such as oxygen or lipids, throughout the body. 4. Hormones. Certain proteins, such as insulin, act as hormones to regulate various physiological processes in the body. 5. Defense. Antibodies are proteins that play a critical role in the immune system by identifying and neutralizing foreign pathogens. 6. Movement. Proteins such as actin and myosin are involved in muscle contraction and movement. Proteins are essential molecules for the proper functioning of the body, and their diverse functions make them key players in a wide range of physiological processes. Amino acids. Amino acids are organic compounds that are the building blocks of proteins. There are 20 different amino acids that are commonly found in proteins, each with a unique chemical side chain that determines its properties and function. Structure of amino acids. Each amino acid consists of an amino group, NH2, a carboxyl group, CoO, and a side chain that varies depending on the specific amino acid. The side chain, also known as the R group, can be hydrophobic, hydrophilic, acidic, or basic, giving the amino acid its distinct properties. Functions of amino acids. 1. Protein synthesis. Amino acids are essential for the synthesis of proteins, which are crucial for the structure and function of the body. 2. Energy production. Amino acids can be used as an energy source when carbohydrates and fats are not available, although this is not their primary function. 3. Precursors for other molecules. Some amino acids can be used as precursors for the synthesis of other important molecules such as neurotransmitters. 4. Metabolic regulation. Certain amino acids have been shown to play a role in the regulation of physiological processes such as insulin secretion and the immune response. 5. Structural components. Some amino acids, such as proline, can provide structural support for tissues, while others, such as glycine, can act as linkers between different parts of a protein. Overall, amino acids are crucial molecules with diverse functions in the body, and proper intake and usage are essential for maintaining health and proper physiological function. Groups of proteins. Proteins are a diverse group of macromolecules that can be classified into several categories based on their structure and function. 1. Structural proteins. These proteins provide structural support to cells and tissues. Examples include collagen, keratin, and elastin. 2. Enzymes. These proteins catalyze biochemical reactions by lowering the activation energy needed for the reaction to occur. Examples include amylase and lactase. 3. Transport proteins. These proteins transport molecules from one location to another in the body. Examples include hemoglobin, which transports oxygen in the bloodstream, and transferrin, which transports iron. 4. Hormones. These proteins regulate various physiological processes by acting as chemical messengers. Examples include insulin, which regulates blood glucose levels, and thyroid hormone, which regulates metabolism. 5. Receptor proteins. These proteins are located on the surface of cells and bind to specific molecules such as hormones. Their function is to transmit signals from outside the cell to the inside of the cell. Examples include insulin receptors and neurotransmitter receptors. 6. Defense proteins. These proteins protect the body from foreign invaders such as microorganisms. Examples include antibodies and complement proteins. 7. Storage proteins. These proteins store nutrients such as amino acids and iron for future use by the body. Examples include ferritin, which stores iron, and casein, which is a storage protein in milk. 8. Contractile proteins. These proteins are responsible for muscle contraction and movement. Examples include actin and myosin. Overall, proteins play a wide variety of essential roles in the body, and their diverse functions make them key players in nearly all physiological processes. Functions of proteins. Proteins perform a wide range of functions in living organisms, including 1. Enzymatic catalysis. Many proteins act as enzymes that catalyze chemical reactions in the body, including breaking down food molecules, synthesizing new molecules, and maintaining cellular processes. 2. Structural support. Proteins such as collagen, keratin, and elastin provide structural support to cells and tissues, allowing them to maintain their shape and resist physical stresses. 3. Transport. Certain proteins, such as hemoglobin and transferrin, transport molecules throughout the body, including oxygen, carbon dioxide, and iron. 4. Signaling and communication. Proteins such as hormones, receptors, and neurotransmitters act as signaling molecules, transmitting information between cells and regulating numerous physiological processes. 5. Defense and immunity. Antimicrobial peptides and immunoglobulins, also known as antibodies, are examples of proteins that play a critical role in the body's defense against infections and diseases. 6. Movement. Proteins such as actin and myosin are responsible for muscle contraction, allowing organisms to move and perform physical activities. 7. Storage. Proteins can also store molecules such as metal ions, carbohydrates, and lipids for later use. Overall, proteins are essential components of the cellular and physiological processes that keep organisms alive and functioning, and their diverse functions make them critical players in nearly all aspects of biology. Sources of protein. Protein can be obtained from many different sources, including 1. Animal sources: meat, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy products such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, and other animal products are rich sources of protein. 2. Plant sources. Many plant-based foods also provide protein, including beans, lentils, peas, nuts, seeds, tofu, tempeh, and certain whole grains, such as quinoa and amaranth. 3. Protein supplements. Protein powders and other protein supplements, such as protein bars and shakes, are another source of protein, particularly for athletes and people with high protein requirements. 4. Processed foods. Some processed foods, such as breakfast cereals, energy bars, and veggie burgers, are also fortified with protein. It's important to note that different protein sources offer varying levels of quality and quantity of protein, as well as other nutrients. For example, animal-based proteins tend to be complete proteins containing all 9 essential amino acids, and are generally more easily absorbed, while some plant-based proteins may be incomplete and may require combining with other complementary proteins to ensure adequate amino acid intake. Therefore, it's important to choose a variety of protein sources and to consume them in moderation as part of a balanced diet that includes a variety of nutrient-dense foods. Proteins can be soluble in water, depending on their structure and the surrounding environment. Some proteins are highly soluble in water, while others are insoluble or only partially soluble. Water is an important solvent for proteins, as it helps to maintain their tertiary and quaternary structures, which are critical to their biological function. In water, proteins can form complexes with other molecules, such as ions or small molecules, and these interactions can affect their solubility and stability. Temperature, pH, and the presence of other solutes can also influence protein solubility in water. Overall, the solubility of a protein in water depends on several factors, including its amino acid composition, structure, and the surrounding environment. Proteins that are highly soluble in water are important for a wide range of biological processes, including enzyme catalysis, transport, and signaling. High temperature can have several effects on proteins, depending on the duration and intensity of the heat exposure. Some of the effects of high temperature on proteins include 1. Denaturation. Prolonged exposure to high temperature can cause proteins to lose their three-dimensional structure, a process known as denaturation. This can result in the loss of the protein's biological activity. 2. Aggregation. In some cases, denatured proteins can form aggregates or clumps, which can lead to conditions such as amyloidosis. 3. Enzyme inactivation. High temperature can cause enzymes to lose their catalytic activity, which can affect biochemical reactions that rely on these enzymes. 4. Alteration of amino acids. At very high temperatures, amino acid residues in proteins can be altered, leading to changes in their chemical properties that can affect protein function. Overall, high temperature can have negative effects on protein structure and function, which can affect biological processes in cells and organisms, and is an important consideration when working with proteins in a laboratory or industrial setting. Acids and bases can have significant effects on proteins, since they can alter their charge and conformation, and disrupt their native interactions. These effects can be reversible or irreversible, depending on the strength and duration of the acid or base exposure. 1. Denaturation. Both acids and bases can cause proteins to denature, or lose their three-dimensional structure, by disrupting their non-covalent interactions. In addition, strong acids or bases can break covalent bonds in proteins, resulting in irreversible denaturation. 2. Alteration of charge. Acids and bases can protonate or deprotonate ionizable groups in proteins, altering their charge and potentially changing their interactions with other molecules, such as nucleic acids or other proteins. 3. Chemical modification. At extreme pH values, acids and bases can react chemically with amino acid residues in proteins, resulting in chemical modification that can impair or alter protein function. 4. Enzyme activity. Some enzymes require specific pH conditions to function optimally, either acidic or basic. When the pH of the environment changes, it can affect the enzyme activity and thus its interaction with the protein substrate. Overall, the effects of acids and bases on proteins depend on several factors, including the strength and duration of the exposure, the amino acid composition of the protein, and the surrounding environment. Proper prediction of these reactions can lead to discovery of novel protein structures or drug candidates.